Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to this rainy day, Memorial Day. I want to thank all of you for coming out here this morning to honor the men and women in uniform and those deceased men and women in uniform here at the 2017 Piscataway Memorial Day service here at Veterans Park. And I want to congratulate Danny Soden for being this year's Grand Marshal. Come on, Danny. He said to me before that it will not be raining on him on a Grand Way. It may be raining on everybody else, but except him. So, Danny, would you like to say a few words? Okay.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for having me as Grand Marshal this year. Just to give you a little background, I went into service in 1967, and I came out in 1970. I was an RA, and I thought it was part of my duty to my country to serve. For all the people out here that have children, grandchildren, relatives in the service, God bless them. And I hope this year will be a good turnout. And again, I thank you very much.
Memorial Day is crazy day in the sense that we have all these mixed messages, start of summer, but most importantly, and the message we're always trying to emphasize, is recognition of veterans who have given their all, veterans who are still with us and need help, and we're in a big national debate about whether we are properly taking care of our veterans or not. I think we should be doing more. But that all being said, you have these mixed messages. And of course, the start of summer today, we have the beginnings, hopefully not of a hurricane, but we have some tough weather here. Usually what I do on Memorial Day is to look at all of the newspapers and see what I think has the best editorial that says it all or comes close to saying it all. And today in the home news, we had a pretty good editorial. I'd like to read it to you. The title of it is Honor the True Spirit of Memorial Day. Every year, Memorial Day arrives at the end of May to beckon summer. We enjoy a long weekend of barbecues and parties while welcoming the unofficial beginning of the beach season. Every year, Memorial Day arrives at the end of May to also remind us to appreciate our fallen heroes. We honor the veterans of wars long past and not so long past, with graveside ceremonies and parades paying tribute to the sacrifices made on behalf of our freedom. Every year, these two themes coexist or clash, depending on your point of view, leaving us to wonder just how is it that a holiday that began for such a somber and respectful reason has morphed into something very different. We wonder when we stop focusing on these fallen heroes and how we can recapture the spirit of the Memorial Days of yesteryear. The answers may be difficult to come by, but not so the explanation for the change. Memorial Day just isn't personal for many of us anymore. We live in an era in which far fewer Americans serve in the military than decades past. That's not by itself a bad thing, but it alters military-civilian relationships and drains our society of a real understanding of what military service truly means. Fewer have served, fewer have fought, fewer have died. We should be thankful of that, of course, but also thankful for the sacrifices that led us here. In World War II, the greatest generation stepped up by the millions to do their part in an all-consuming conflict that touched all facets of American life. We understood that war and why we were fighting, but that generation is mostly gone now. Our connection increasingly is through history. History books and memories of stories we've been told. Vietnam left us confused and bitter, and the way in which we treated those who served in that war reflected our ambivalence. Their sacrifices seem not to mean as much as unfair as that was. Our soldiers continue to protect us, but it's a volunteer force now. There's no draft, nor is there much public taste to start one again, even as global burdens stretch our troops very thin. The idea of some form of short-term, post-high school or post-college mandatory service appeals to some, but it would prove a political minefield at best. We say the right things in tribute, but does it come from our hearts? We should be thankful, ultimately, that we haven't faced the kind of challenge demanding large-scale mobilization in nearly a half a century. The greatest dangers of the 21st century are less about armies massing against each other to seize territory and more about the terror war and nuclear weapons from rogue nations. Technology has changed what we need from our military, although perhaps not as much as we'd like to believe. So we say this year what we say each year, and what increasingly needs to be said every year. Take some time this weekend to honor those who have sacrificed so much. They deserve it. I think the editorial says it all. Have a good, hopefully not too wet Memorial Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Smith. I'd like to have Senator Joe Danielson come up for a couple quick comments, and then also I want to acknowledge Councilman Kapil Shaw, who's here also.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I always thought of today more of a day of obligation, a simple obligation to remember the men and women that supported this country through difficult times and easy times. You know, you might see veterans in the supermarket, in the schools, wearing their hat or a badge. And I simply ask all those who are not veterans to simply approach them and say, thank you for your service. It doesn't have to be just on a Memorial Day weekend, but any day during the year. God bless all the Americans. Thank you.
We're going to do the lowering of the flag.
We got the flag.
Yes, sir.
All right. Everybody salute, hand salute.
Next up, we have Mayor Brian Waller and the Town Council, Councilwoman Chanel McCollum, Councilman Frank Urin, Councilman Kapil Shaw, Councilwoman Gabrielle Cahill, Councilman Jim Bullard, Councilman Stephen Kahn, and Councilwoman Michelle Lombardi, along with freeholder Kenny Armwood. Piscataway Township Emergency Management. Next up, we have Piscataway Township Office on Aging. Next up, you have the Piscataway High School Super Chief Marching Band, along with the Super Chief Band Parent Association.
Service Unit Manager, Lori Sladke. Our adult volunteers, Deborah Best from Troop 808490 and Brenda Rogg from Troop 80563. Our color guard, Samantha Best, Kayla Skazafava, Ariel Rogg, Audrey Vischer, and Nyasa Bryson. We have Daisy Troop 81106. Troop 80038. Troop 80070. Brownie Troop 81107. Troop 80328. Troop 81113. Junior Troop 80395. Troop 80312. Cadet Troop 80877. Troop 83931. And Troop 81747.
Say up, we have Boy Scout Pack 67. Followed by Boy Scout Troop 67. Followed by Boy Scout Troop 20. And then Boy Scout Pack 106. Is River Road Fire Company, John Smoko. Followed by Arbor Hose Company. Next up is the Arbor Rescue Squad. Next up, Holmes Marshall Fire Company, Chief Darrell Henry. Up we have Newmarket Fire Company, Chief Buddy Rivera. Next up, we have North Stelton Fire Company, Chief Robert Phelan. And they are accompanied by the North Stelton Rescue Squad. Next up, we have River Road Rescue Squad. And last but certainly not least, Possumtown Fire Company.